What do you bring to the room? Who do they see? And how do you make them feel? Are you strong enough to admit that sometimes you just have to up the energy and deliver regardless of how depleted your resources are? Do you bring the fire and the passion, or are you passive? And more importantly, do they see it? Welcome back. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan, dad, host, and founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Every week, I aim to ask you one uncomfortable question, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. Because this is about legacy, impact, and the man that your kids actually see when you walk into that room. Because the world, as you know, is happy for you to just cope. We're here to help you choose. Choose how you show up, how you lead, and how you love. Before we dive into this week's episode, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, hit subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And hey, head over to themodernfatherhoodclub.com and grab some of our free resources. They're built to support you from those early, messy days right through to the years when they're shouting at you from across the room. All right, take a breath. This week's question is going to test you. Let's get into it. So what do you bring to the room? Who do they see, and how are you making them feel? And hey, here's the difficult one. Are you strong enough to admit that sometimes you just have to up the energy and deliver regardless of how depleted you feel? Let's be clear from the get-go. Passion and enthusiasm for life isn't about waiting for the right moment. It's not about when you're rested or when life is calm. Passion, it's about the energy that you decide to bring, especially when you're tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. Passion is what lights you up right now. It's what makes you tick. It's that thing that floods the home when you're locked into that thing that brings a smile to your face. As a dad, it's what they need to see from you. It's about choosing every moment to connect to the things that matter. Those things that bring a smile to your face. Those things that energize you. So this week, what energy are your kids catching from you every morning? What are you going to bring to the table today, tomorrow, and every day? And I guess the bigger question that you really need to answer, what are you passionate about that you're failing to prioritize in favor of something else? And what would you let yourself be more passionate about if you could just focus on it more? See, passion's about understanding what matters to you. Not to your family or anyone else for that matter. It's about what matters to you. And when you're clear on that, everyone else around you is going to benefit. So let me put it this way. Our role is to protect and provide, to create safety and certainty, to deliver no matter what, to ensure that our children have what they need and our partners have what they need. Our role, well, it's about sacrifice. And we don't encourage selfishness in parents, and especially not in dads. Today, we want dads to step back, be more present, promote equal parenting, and ensure that everyone else around them is thriving. But seriously, can I ask you, what if that means a loss of passion or joy or enthusiasm for the things that light you up? Where does that leave you? And who do they see? Because if I'm trying to balance everything, work, family, relationship, all in a world demanding my time and my focus, do my children see that carefree, relaxed dad willing to just play and laugh? Or do they see everything else? Distraction, stress, overwhelm, and unintentional distance. Between 2018 and 2020, I carried a lot. I focused on the wrong things. I focused on stability. I focused on certainty. I focused on predictability and safety. I focused on sacrificing the things that mattered, because in the short term, it gave us everything we needed. It left me, though, chasing things that filled my cup, cramming life into a weekend or into the holiday we'd worked so hard to achieve. This approach, it never left me smiling. It left me exhausted, and it left me overwhelmed. It left me burning out and desperately holding on to the people that I loved. Now, that's not what fatherhood is about. It's not about chasing your tail and constantly hoping that the stress will pass. It's not about burying the struggle, hoping people close to you aren't going to feel it, because they will. And when they do, well, it shapes the environment that they grow up in. Today, we promote more stuff, more things, more expense, more of everything. But when was the last time you sat back and reflected on what you have? Not what you're delivering and not what you're working for, but what you have. When was the last time your kids had a front row seat to what dad is about? A lesson on what to love and why. If we're so busy and always working because work creates safety and security, well, in the end, what will it have all been for? Yes, if you're lucky and you've worked hard, you'll own a property, perhaps a nice car. Your kids won't want for anything, and maybe you'll have savings and have the opportunity to go on nice holidays. But in between creating safety and a future that's ultimately taxed, what are you going to have missed? And when you look back, will you be filled with regret, or will you be content with what you've got? Will they have seen mum and dad working hard to deliver things, but too hard to enjoy those moments that matter? See, passion, it's crucial to their success. They need that desire to do something for themselves, to better themselves, to pursue the things they love, the things that matter. But will they get that chance? Are we at risk of diluting that passion and enthusiasm because we're too busy? This isn't just about paying bills and putting food on the table and keeping our children warm. This is about the dilution of opportunities because we weren't prepared to live aligned to the things that lifted us up, that filled our cup, that energized those we love. Are we now in a place where your role is diluted? Not just by the outside world, but by your willingness to be distracted by it and its quick win, low effort, low passion expectation. Because life has to be about more than that. Fatherhood is about leadership. It's about setting an example. But it's also about bringing the noise, the energy, enthusiasm, the passion, especially with boys. And especially in a world where we want everyone to conform. Do you know what the biggest energy sapper in my home is? It's us. When we're tired, when we've worked flat out, and when we're fighting to stay on top of everything, it's not passion that shows through. It's frustration. It's shortness in tone. As parents, we run from one thing to the next. Work, school run, activities, parties, more work, repeat. When do we just take a moment to reflect on the things that fill our cups? The problem is, you're built to follow and built to conform. From an early age, you've chased pressure, chased more, chased the things that create security and contribute to a safer world for you and for them to live in. But when did you stop chasing the things you loved? When did you lose sight of that passion to follow your heart, to make space for the things that light you up, that create warmth, that bring a smile to every interaction? Today, there's pressure on the kids from such an early age to conform, to meet expectations, to hit targets. At the expense of what? Their passion and love for what matters. We're expecting them to compete, not with themselves, but with everyone else. We're expecting them to sit and follow instruction after instruction, to repeat the same thing over and over again. We make little time for fun, little time for creativity, little time for real life problem solving, little time for building community or relationships that truly matter. And then we dilute what matters with TV, games, YouTube, instant satisfaction over the pursuit of a dream. We want them to work hard, and they need to learn the importance of hard work, resilience, failure, bouncing back and recognizing and leaning into their strengths. But then we outsource this all to their schools, and it becomes the greatest passion killer. A void for creativity, optimism, and mental strength. It's not that we don't want to influence these outcomes. It's that we're often too busy or too tired to give them that next energy boost. Look, I wake up every morning and I push myself. Come rain or shine, the cold, the darkness, it doesn't matter. Because I want my first interaction with Henry and Max to be on my terms. That's my energy level, my laughter, my noise. And I've got to do it. Because after a long term, they're tapping out. They're exhausted. They've worked so hard. As busy parents, well, they've had to stay in wraparound care. They've had their fill of activities. But that's because as parents, we're forced to relinquish our passion for life and enthusiasm, those things our children need to see, because we've got to stay afloat financially. We need challenge. We need growth. But are we, in today's world, losing sight of the passion needed to pursue those opportunities to grow and feel challenged? Are we just getting to a point where we're focused on the stability of the family unit over the true happiness of the individuals within it? And this is in by no way a criticism of you, your partner, or the way that you're raising your kids. Because the deeper question is this. If you lived aligned to your passion and things that you loved took center stage, and everything else was just there to support the happiness of those you love, would you all be better off? Not financially, but mentally, emotionally. Would you be more connected? As a dad, I have to give more. My partner, she's got to do the same too. We both have to show more. We both have to set an example in those tough interactions. Because our objective has to be to teach them how to define what they're passionate about, to understand what they need to do to follow it, and how to stay focused on it even when the world around you is set up to dilute that passion and enthusiasm for life. Most mornings in our house, it starts the same. Henry wakes up, he's flat, he's cautious, glass half empty. Max is a different beast. He's more carefree, more fire. He's ready to enjoy the day and take whatever life throws at him. And me? At times, I'm caught in between, restless and tired. But one thing I'm sure of, I'm determined to light them up. Yeah, sometimes I fall short, but I try to give them what they need and help them see what's truly important. I let them see my passion, my fire, my enthusiasm. But I also try to talk about what really matters to me. Because at my core, I'm a simple, low-maintenance kind of guy. I value connection, love, warmth, people, conversation beyond the surface, honest and integrity-driven individuals, opportunities to help others, growth professionally and personally. At the end of the day, I protect what's important. Time with them, time in the garden, time watching them interact with one another, time listening and laughing, time watching the world go by, time to sit, to reflect, to drink a beer, cook on the grill, listen to music, time to pause and ignore the influence and the pull of the demands of others. I don't value BS. I don't value self-promotion at the expense of the way other people feel. And above everything, I value and prioritize my passion, because passion is contagious, and so is apathy. As a leader, you must be able to articulate your vision for the future, communicate it in a way that others understand. Because the way you communicate about things that light you up, well, that becomes a source of energy and inspiration. It prepares them to follow. They lean into the way that you speak, the way you listen, and the way that you live. And we all got to do more of this. It's leading from the front with our passion on show that will determine their path and how committed they remain to pursuing those things that light them up. I know when I walk into the room rushed, distracted, clock watching, my wife, my boys, they feel it. It's evident in the way I listen and how quickly I change the subject. And both approaches shape them, who they are and how they will lead in the future. The truth is, sometimes I'm guilty of letting my stress or perfectionism steal my spark. And when that happens, they see a dad who's present but not alive. And that burns more than anything. However, passion isn't what I feel inside. It's what they see on the outside. It's my tone of voice, my smile, my body language. the fire behind my eyes. And that's why we must choose to bring it, regardless of the stress, the strain, the stability, regardless of whether you're tired or under pressure to deliver. They need you to embody that passion because it filters through to the way that they see the world, how they perform in it, what they pursue. And that shift, that's what will help them rise above the noise, distraction, storm of complacency. Every moment you have to demonstrate where your passion lies has got to be taken. These are your moments to influence how they show up, how they live, love, laugh, how they treat themselves and those they love, and how they lead. So this weekend, choose to infect your kids with energy, laughter, and joy before the world tries to drain it out of them. You don't have to be perfect every day. But when you pause, breathe, and choose passion, they see a dad who's lit up. And it changes the whole tone of your home, your interactions, and your relationships. Passion isn't optional. It must become the fuel of your home because your kids will reflect whatever energy you bring. So this week I've got one challenge for you. Before the world pulls you in 10 different directions, flood the room with life, with energy, with joy, with laughter, with noise. Share your passion, share your dreams. Because if you don't, who will? And now I want you to make a promise to them. A silent one, but one you see every day. My tone of voice, my body language, my expression, the way I greet them every morning, the fire in my eyes, my big goofy smile. These are the things that they must see. Because if they don't, then the chaos around will dull them and the spark they need to live life to its fullest could be lost. And it won't be the world that taught them to sacrifice the things that mattered. It will be me. So here's the question. What energy are your kids catching from you every morning? What will you bring to the table today, tomorrow, and every single day? If this episode resonates, share it with another dad who needs the reminder. Our kids don't just need us present, they need us to lift them up. Okay, so that's today's question done. You've just spent a few minutes doing what most of us avoid. Slowing down, being honest, and looking at how you're really showing up. And my friend, that matters, and it matters more than you know. Because your kids, they don't need a perfect man, they just need an honest one. A dad who's willing to reflect, reset, and lead from the front. Even when he's tired, under pressure, or just coping more than he'd like to admit. If this episode landed for you, please subscribe to the podcast and hit subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you haven't yet, join us at themodernfatherhoodclub.com. There you are going to find plenty of free resources and reflection questions, the ultimate new dad toolkit for those of you about to embark on your fatherhood journey, and the new dad recharge course for those of you looking to realign your energy and priorities. And there's going to be details on our upcoming antenatal course too, for those of you expecting a baby. Look, I'm not perfect. Neither are you. But we are committed to leading with confidence, strength, openness, and heart. Committed to giving our kids the version of us that's present, not just productive. So look, this podcast is not about making sweeping change. It's not scripted. It's not designed to be safe or polished. It's what happens when you and I get real about where we're falling short and how we're learning to rise regardless. Because our kids don't need a dad who's got it all figured out. They need a dad who's willing to look in that mirror and keep working hard. But this podcast isn't for the man who's pretending. This is for the man who's ready. If you're here, if you're scrolling between pressure and exhaustion, and something inside you whispers, I need more than this, well, this is what Answer Me This is about. This is where we talk about what matters. This is where you answer the questions that keep you up at night. This is where you get to the truth. As always, write it down. dive into the detail, create something so powerful and unique that you cannot wake up and not move toward it. Thank you for listening. This has been Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan, founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.